Well, after a stretch of fall-like temperatures earlier in the week, we are headed back right into record high territory for mid-November. If you like warm weather, you're going to like this forecast, but we are starting to look at a pattern change heading into the extended range. Finally, let's talk about it in this Thursday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Hi there, it's Thursday, the 13th of November, 2025. I'm Texas Storm Chaser's Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day to pop on in for some Texas weather information. We'll go ahead and get into it. We started off with some pretty dense fog this morning across parts of central Texas, the hill country, south central Texas, and the coastal plains. Had visibility under 1/8 of a mile at Austin Bergstrom International this morning. That caused some issues with the arriving aircraft for some flight categories this morning. That fog has burned off and will remain so for the remainder of today. We're not expecting any rain in the state of Texas over the next several days, but we are definitely seeing an uptick in moisture flowing in from the Gulf across the eastern half of the state, which is one reason why we have some of that fog, and also another reason why it feels far more humid across eastern and southeastern parts of the state today compared to the last several. Otherwise, we are going to be seeing pockets of upper-level clouds move across the state through the remainder of today into Friday, with another round of locally dense fog Friday morning and Saturday morning across central Texas, the hill country, the coastal plains, and southeast Texas. Just exactly what I wanted to hear, with a 4:45 a.m. drive time from Fredericksburg up to the DFW Metroplex tomorrow morning for meetings. Woohoo! Here's hoping I don't meet Bambi. Taking a look at the fire weather outlook from the Texas A&M Forest Service, we've got moderate to high fire danger for most of the state heading over the next few days, without any significant upper-level systems overhead to bring increased winds or a particularly super-duper dry air mass across the southeastern half of the state. The fire danger will be coming down a bit comparatively to the last few days, but still, I mean, it's pretty easy to get things to combust, so let's be careful, not drag chains, don't be throwing cigarettes out the window, and, just exercise some basic safety and common sense tips. Taking a look at the upper air pattern from the European Weather Model Ensemble over the next several days. This is around 18,500 feet above sea level, 500 millibars halfway up the atmosphere. You can see that we are expecting a fairly, I don't want to say inactive pattern for us heading into the weekend, but kind of. You can see area of high pressure over the western Gulf, keeping us relatively calm through most of the weekend. Upper-level storm system is going to pass well north of us, keeping our rain chances near zero on Sunday and Monday. Now, going into Wednesday of next week, things look like they're going to change, assuming it doesn't get pushed back any farther. But this one has had a decent amount of weather model consistency in both the single deterministic weather models and their ensemble support members, which is just variation of that single deterministic model run dozens of times with slightly different initialization parameters. When all those tend to show a similar outcome, that increases forecast confidence in that even if model data is off a bit, which it always is typically, that a relatively similar forecast outcome will occur, which is why we do think rain chances are going to start to increase next Wednesday and Thursday with the arrival of an upper-level storm system, plenty of moisture, and, well, the chance of storms, probably, for at least the eastern half of Texas. Now, specifics, are we going to be dealing with severe storms? Are we going to be dealing with multi-inch rains, etc.? Timing, that's all going to be up in the air and not even worth trying to dive into right now. But, I mean, you know what? I guess we have to wait another 5, 6, 7 days for any chance of rain here in the state. Taking a look at the precipitation output from the model, and you can see it is pretty much dry through Tuesday of next week. It does start to hint at the approaching upper-level storm system going into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. You can see some snow flying up in the higher elevations and mountains of Colorado and northern New Mexico Monday and Tuesday of next week. Otherwise, severe clear with morning rounds of fog and little in the way of forecast rain. Temperatures today, pretty hot for mid-November. We're looking at 80s across much of the state. Can't rule out low 90s down the southern Big Bend and deep south Texas. Tomorrow, bump it up a couple of degrees. We're looking at a lot of mid and upper 80s across Texas, probably lower 90s down in the Big Bend and down towards McAllen in deep south Texas. Saturday, getting close to 90s again in the big country, northwest Texas. We're looking at 80s along I-20 through the Permian Basin out to the Trans-Pecos at the 10-20 split. Upper 70s in the borderland of far west Texas. A good way to say this is, unless you're in the northern panhandle or far west Texas, where highs on Saturday will be in the upper 70s, there's a good chance you're going to be in the 80s Saturday. So definitely a very warm mid-November day for the state. And if you think that's changing on Sunday, it is kind of if you're in the panhandle. Temperatures do come down a few degrees, but everyone else, it's still in the 80s with 90s back in South Texas. We're looking at 92 in McAllen, 93 on Monday in McAllen with upper 80s near 90 in San Antonio, 92 in Laredo. We're looking at 86 in DFW, 85 in Houston, 87 in Austin. We're looking at 84 to 85 San Angelo up to Abilene, 88 in Del Rio, 77 to 78 in Odessa, Midland, 79 in Sweetwater. We're looking at about 77 in Lubbock, 70 in Amarillo, 69 out in El Paso, 81 in Texarkana. So, long-range temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, the 18th through 22nd November, continuing to favor a warmer air mass in place with above-average precipitation chances. So again, so far, we're still honed in on the middle to late part of next week for that pattern change, which could bring thunderstorms back to parts of the state of Texas, in addition to some gustier winds. So, assuming the dry line comes into play, we'll have to watch for rain and storm chances with increased humidity east of that dry line. West of the dry line, gusty winds, very dry air mass, and increased wildfire danger. So, eventually, we'll be dealing with that. It's just not anytime soon, comparatively speaking. So, comparatively, relatively, whatever the correct definition is. That's it for your Thursday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow with an abbreviated, fun version of the Texas Weather Roundup, since, again, I have to be on the road by 5 a.m., so we'll see how that goes, but it'll probably be another magical, super-duper vertical phone edition, which is fine. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. You can always get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, daily Texas weather roundups, and more on the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just got to search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps to your device. And if you want to get more Texas weather information here on YouTube, hey, just click subscribe. It's free, and you'll get notified. That's it. Y'all have an amazing Thursday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, God bless.